Well, hello there, Pastor Scott at Calvary Christian Assembly. I thought I'd start sending every other week, maybe every week, a little thought, a devotional, just staying in touch with you so we can remain a church family in ways that we're not because of the COVID-19 epidemic. I miss my Wednesday class. I know many of you do too. Many of you miss the Sunday morning, not just our Sunday morning worship services in person, but Pastor Charles's class. So I just thought I would start putting together a little 3 to 4 minute thought devotional. I was out visiting. Yes, I was visiting, handing out a rose to various women who are pretty much shut in. So not like technically a real shut in, but people that aren't getting out very much, like a Sue Bethay, a Mary Ani, a Bernie Noble. So Leilani and I were over at Bernie Noble's house the other week, brought her a rose, just as a reminder that we haven't forgotten about her. We're praying for her, and so as she was there, or we were at her house, I saw on her table, she had a book that was entitled 50 People Every Christian Should Know. And I thought, that looks like an intriguing book. So I asked Mary if I could look at it, and I really liked it. And so I sent off for it. And I might read to you, or just read you portions of some of these short biographies, condensed biographies. And it's quite fascinating. The first one starts out with a woman by the name of Katherine von Bora. Have you heard of Katherine von Bora? Well, Katherine von Bora was born in 1499, died in 1552, 53 years old. She was a nun, but she became the wife of Martin Luther. It's quite a story. This short biography mentions that a lot of young women were pretty much forced into the nunnery, or if they were orphans, or there were some other situations, they were just put into some kind of a convent and became nuns, and they became married to Jesus, so to speak. And then, of course, the Reformation took place, and it's quite a very interesting story. And Martin Luther and others, amongst other things, they were helping various nuns that did not want to be nuns escape. And they would hide them in various ways and under bales of hay that were in a wagon, barrels that were supposed to be filled with goods, whether that was wine or other things. They'd put, some of the young girls, young women in that. So to make a long story short, this woman, Katherine, she ends up, after, a lot of time, finally marrying Martin Luther. She really didn't want to marry him at first. Martin Luther was trying to get her to marry somebody else, because that's how women had to be taken care of. They'd take care of the home once they were married, and they would be a partner in that marriage. But so really getting a woman married was a really important thing. Anyway, Katherine von Bora ends up marrying Martin Luther, and she was about 20 years younger than he was. Martin Luther wrote in one of his many writings, he says, there's a lot to get used to in the first year of marriage. He's 45, and he's writing that. And he writes, wives usually know the art to ensnare a man with tears and pleadings, he wrote. They can turn and twist nicely and give the best words and get their way. So he's 45 years old when he marries a young woman in her early 20s. And he's learning about marriage. But he goes on to really adore her and calls her a Proverbs 31 woman. He calls her, his mistress. of the pigsty because he loved pigs, and that was not a demeaning thing to say to her. She would oversee with the cows that they had and the chickens, and he liked pork, so she started this pigsty. He called her the mistress of the pigsty, and he meant that as a compliment. I don't think I'll use that one on Leilani. And so he was very, very proud of her. And she even stocked this pond that they had with fish. They had 6 children, and they lived in this abandoned cloister, which housed a lot of monks, and she fixed that up, and then it became their home. But Martin Luther loved to have people come over, and he would debate and talk theology, and she would take notes around much of the conversation that he was having, and she would even say, she'd call him doctor. Doctor, stop talking and start eating. And he would tell her to go say the Lord's Prayer before he asked her a question again. They didn't argue. They would kind of banter back and forth in a cute way. Leilani and I, we do that too. Luther called his marriage a school of character. That's right. And marriage is certainly a school of character. There's so much in this little 6-page story that I've skipped over. But if you want to get this book, it's fantastic. 50 people every Christian should know about. And Katherine von Bora is certainly one of them. Marriage is a wonderful thing. And Martin Luther was better because he was married.